Trudy and I are also on the helpline. We just joined the helpline about 3-4 weeks ago. So we are now working with the Denver office for people that get scammed and they call up. We will take some of their calls once or twice a week. We'll get online and we'll try to help people out with stuff like that. So, and Trudy and I have been doing this now for about almost 3.5 years, giving fraud presentations, scamming presentations. And I know I enjoy it. I think Trudy enjoys it. Trudy, you there? All right, Trudy will be my co-host today. What she will do is she'll monitor the audience, make sure I'm not putting too many people to sleep. If they have any questions, they'll go up like that. Okay, she'll make sure that, you know, you're, like I said, I'm engaging you, that you won't put too many people to sleep. And if you have any questions and stuff like that. So without further ado, then I will see if we can share our screen. Okay, so we'll start with the holiday one. When you look online for the holiday scams and frauds, you'll see several different listings. You'll see anywhere from 4 scams, 7 scams, 9 scams, 10 scams. What I've done is I've picked up like the top 4 that seem to be going on, and they are the social media, the online shopping, the phony charities, and the gift card scams. They seem to be the top 4 that seem to be going on this year.
I'm going to interrupt you. You are not.
Do I need to do something? I've got a menu on my screen that doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything.
Need one more click to share your screen to the holiday scam.
On what?
No, Martin needs to do it.
I got done. I'm sharing it now, Trudy. Trudy.
I'm still seeing your file menu.
Let me try again. What about now?
Now you're good. Perfect.
Good to go.
Okay. All right. For our, like I said, for the holiday scams, we're going to be going over our social media, our online shopping scams, our phony charities, and our gift cards. Okay. On our social media scams, what you'll have there is they will be your social sites that we go to. One of the things you'll go see on Facebook, you may be on Facebook, you will see on the left-hand side or right-hand side, all of a sudden a thing will pop up and say a favorite celebrity of yours may be giving some type of tickets away to a show, maybe giving some type of free tickets to a backstage get-together, something like that. What they're going to be is they're going to be offering something for free. All you have to do is click on it, and they will show you how to get this free pass. One of the things you'll see on the free pass is you're going to have to pay something for that free pass, and they're probably going to also ask for information. Facebook quizzes. You'll be on Facebook, and a lot of times you'll see quizzes or games that are being played, and they entice you, you know, go ahead and take the quiz for us or play the game. Again, what they're going to do is they're going to, once you start playing these games, and especially on the quizzes, they'll start asking you questions, and the questions, although they sound, you know, very plain and very vanilla, a lot of the questions they ask you are the same questions that you've used to set up your security. If you remember, a lot of times you'll be setting up your security, and they will say, what's your favorite pet? What was the name of your first pet? Things like that. And these are the same questions that they'll be asking on these quizzes. They'll just work these questions in here. And the other one is that you in this photograph or video? This is a little on the dark side. What they're doing there is they're trying to get you to click on something saying, basically, hey, I've got a picture of you or a video of you doing stuff that you're not supposed to be doing on the internet. Okay? It deals sort of like trying to blackmail you in a way, saying that I've got something that I can use against you. And what they want to do is they want you to click on that particular site right there. Let me go back for a second. And a lot of times when you'll get on your different sites, you'll see something come up like this one here is your Amazon.com. It will come up and say, hey, we've got a special gift for you at Amazon.com. Click on this and, collect your gift type thing. So a lot of times you'll see you'll see different websites come up like this. How to defend against it. One, on all your social media, your Twitter accounts, your Facebook accounts, whatever you're using for social media, make sure you update your privacy settings. Make sure when you look at your privacy settings, okay, who is allowed to look at your Facebook? Can I go in and look at your Facebook, or do I have to be a friend of yours before I look at your Facebook? And what are you allowing people to look at? When you use passwords for different social settings, use a different password for each one. Use a different password for your Twitter, one for your Facebook, one for your other social accounts. Make sure they're all different passwords. Be wary of strangers. If you post something and you see Martin Bailey likes your post, well, you don't know who Martin Bailey is, but you're sort of curious, so you click on Martin Bailey. There's no reason to click on Martin Bailey. He's a stranger. Don't worry about him. Just let him go. Okay, he's looked at your post. That's all you have to worry about. Okay, so be wary of strangers. Do not post personal information on the web. You will hear me talk about personal information so much on this one and the next one that you will actually get tired of me talking about your personal information. But again, do not post any personal information on the web. Your birthday, if you want your birthday on Facebook, recommend you only put your date and month. Do not put your year down. No reason to post your phone number. No reason to post your email. These are all personal pieces of information you don't necessarily want on the web. If you want to share it with a friend, email a friend and let them know what your email is or your phone number is. Do not accept friend requests from strangers. A lot of times you'll see a Facebook friend request come up and say, would you like to be friend Martin Bailey? Carol said Carol recommended him. Okay. Well, one, I may have hacked into Carol's account. So that's why Carol is recommending me. So what you'll want to do is if you get a friend request from a stranger, call up the person who's recommending that stranger and find out, did you in fact recommend Martin as a friend? Okay. If they didn't, it's a scam. The guy's trying to scam you. When you log into your social medias, be very, very careful when you're using Wi-Fi. We recommend public Wi-Fi. We recommend that you do not use public Wi-Fi really for anything. Now, public Wi-Fi is what you have at Starbucks, is what you'll have in a lot of hotels. It's offered to you, it's offered for free, but it's public, which means anybody can look to see what you're posting or transactions that you're doing over this public Wi-Fi. And if it looks like a suspicious link, do not click on it. When you click on these links, a lot of times they'll just take you to a different site. Some of the times what they'll do is they'll actually download malware on your computer. And the malware can do one or two things. It can either actually take over your computer, or it can just monitor your computer as far as what you're doing, steal certain information off of your computer. So you really have to be careful of what you click on. And again, we recommend if you see it, if you did not initiate it, do not click on it. Okay, online shopping scams, basically you have two of them, the non-delivery scam and the non-payment scam. The non-delivery scam is you've ordered something on the web and it looks like a good site. You might did a little checking on it, but it looks like a good site. And one of the things they'll offer you is a great deal. It is a good deal, but you got to do it now because I only have a few of these things left. So you really have to buy it now. So you'll purchase the item and you think it's coming and everything, but it never gets delivered to you. And then when you go to check it out, you check the email out, you'll check maybe a phone number or something out. The phone's disconnected, they don't answer the email, and the website may even be gone. So there's no way of tracking that. Non-payment scam, this is just the opposite. You're selling something on the internet, a person comes up, wants to buy it, but this person is getting ready to deploy overseas and actually needs whatever you're selling immediately, because like my plane takes off tomorrow. I need it immediately. Can you send it to me as soon as possible? So you get urgent, thing of urgency. They start working on you. You get it out in the mail and everything like that. I may pay for it some way, or the scammer may pay for it some way, and then you find out that it's not collectible. Whatever I paid for was fraudulent, and you've already sent the item to me. So you may not, or you already sent the item to the scammer, so you may not be able to get it back. Again, you'll go to the websites that offer you the really good information. You go to that Amazon.com. They'll have information on there. If you've put Amazon.com in, you know it's a good website. If you just click on the link that they may be giving you, you really have to be careful. Is that the correct website you're going to? You have to just be aware of everything like that. Okay, fake shipping notices. You'll see, now this is a text that I actually received on my computer. You'll either get a text notice or maybe an email, and it will say, hey, I've got the scammer's got a FedEx package for you. Here's the tracking number. Just click on the website that's given to you on the text message here, and you can update your shipping preferences. When you click on the website, again, what it may do is it may download malware onto your device and may take over your device. And another thing it's doing, it is phishing for information. It's going to ask you if, in fact, it does ask you for information. It's going to ask you, of course, for your name, your address, your phone number, your email address. It's going to ask you for maybe a credit card or some type of credit information so they can make sure that it gets to you. There may be some money due on the package or the scam package. So they're phishing for information. And when they get this information, thank you very much. You're not going to receive anything because you don't have anything out there. Okay, again, this is a fake shipping notice. Again, text and the word email. This is an email that I received, obviously, from DHL. Says, hey, DHL has got a package for me. Get the tracking information there, go on the website. And if you look at the DHL Global, if you check the email, that doesn't look like a DHL email. And in fact, it isn't. The TW says this is from Taiwan. And then you go down here, and what you do is on the customer care, if you right click on that one there, it comes up and it gives you a totally different website that you're going to. And that happens to be in Russia. So you see, I've received this email from somebody in Taiwan, and they want me to click on something that's going to take me to Russia. So these are the things that the scammers are doing out there, what you have to be careful of. If you didn't order anything, you don't expect anything coming, and somebody says you've got a package waiting for you, it's probably a scam. If you think you may have a package or somebody may have sent you a package, call DHL up and ask them and say, this is the tracking number I have. Do you in fact have a package for me? DHL or the FedEx or UPS, they'll be able to tell you if they have a package or not. Okay, defending against it, one, always get a tracking number. So when you buy something online, make sure they give you a tracking number. Do not hang up on them or do not get offline until you get that tracking number. If they do not give you a tracking number, if they want you to pay in some weird way, and a weird way would be, say, Bitcoin, gift card, even PayPal, even some of the pay apps that they use can be scammed. So unless they want to accept your credit card, I'd say really you might want to consider canceling that purchase and go somewhere else to buy it. You want to verify legitimacy of the buyer or the seller. What you do there, you go to Better Business Bureau. A lot of the websites like eBay and stuff that have the sellers on here, you can actually go and ask eBay, are they in fact a good seller? You can also look at the recommendations. If the person only has a few recommendations and they're all like 5-star, be leery of that. If the person has several thousand recommendations and the stars vary from 1 to 5, that is probably a legitimate seller. But again, one who's just brand new, only has a few stars, and the stars are all, he's an exceptional person, definitely you'll want to question that one there. If your buyer wants you to ship the item some way that's going to avoid customs or taxes, that's illegal right there. So just cancel that order, or say, thank you, but no thank you to that particular buyer. And then any type of credit card purchase where the addresses do not match. They're saying you send it to this address here, but bill this address. If they don't match, you might want to question that. Although a lot of times, I may be buying something for my son. He's someplace else. I'm going to say ship it here, but bill my address. Again, I would recommend questioning it. Although it may be a legit purchase, just keep your guard up. Okay, on phone to charities. 'Tis a season to be jolly and to give to people. Scammers know this, and scammers will make different charities up. They will make charities that sound like legit charities. They will also make charities up that are subject to things that you may want to give. If you like pet shelters, you may have a legitimate pet shelter charity, and the scammer may make a fake charity up, it sounds like you're giving to a pet shelter. Okay, so be careful of that there. They'll contact you by mail, email, social media, text, phone calls. They'll even knock on your door. And one of the things they'll start doing is when they start the conversation, if they're in fact talking to you or if you're in person with them, they'll start very nicely. They'll introduce themselves. They'll start the conversation where a lot of times you'll be answering yes to a lot of questions. And what they're doing is they're building trust up. And then they'll start a hard sales pitch and the sense of urgency. And the sense of urgency is, oh, these little puppies need your money now because they're going to be put to sleep. Or the children that are starving to death, they need your money now. Whatever it is, they want to make you feel guilty and they have you realize that it's an urgent need for money. They need it and they need it now. And they'll want you to pay. And when you pay, they'll want either cash, gift card, wire transfer, or maybe a Bitcoin. The reason why they do all this type of payment there, it's almost impossible to trace. So once you've paid like that, you've basically lost your money. Ways to avoid that. Develop a no response. Tracy's has got a great no response. It's what part of no don't you understand? What we do is when we tell people, if you are feel that you are getting emotionally involved with this person, step back, take a deep breath, tell them no thank you, send it to me in the mail. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to develop that no response, and that's just not only for charities, that's for all scams. Just develop a no response that, again, you start feeling emotionally involved, step back, tell them no. Research the charity out. What you want to do there's 2 sites you can go to research a charity. You'll want to ask certain questions about the charity. How long has a charity been in existence? Who runs the charity? What experience do they have as a charity? And the big one is, when you give your money to the charity, how much of your money actually goes to victims? If it's less than 65 or 75%, it's a scam. Okay, they've just busted the Federal Trade Commission. I think the FBI just busted some charities up in Maryland that were given less than 5% of the money to the victims. The rest of the money was being paid to run the marketing for the charities and pay for the salaries of who's ever running the charities. So you've really got to watch what you're giving. What I would recommend, if you have a known charity that you've been giving to for a while, just keep giving it to that charity. Don't worry about some of these special charities that are coming up. And again, do not give out any personal information. Charity is not going to ask for personal information. They'll ask for maybe a credit card number so that they can you can give for your credit card. And other than that, that's really all they're going to ask for. Or maybe your address so they send you a thank you note. Okay, gift card. Now, gift cards actually appear on about 60% of the holiday lists. And on the gift card things, what you'll see on your social media, or even an email or a text, you'll say free gift cards or phony giveaways of some types. Okay, now the free gift cards, no one is going to give you a free gift card. What you're going to do, again, you're probably going to pay for it somehow, either taxes or shipping the gift card to you. And again, they'll probably ask for information. When you purchase a gift card, or if a person in authority asks you to purchase a gift card, say your chief executive officer comes down and says, I'd like you to purchase about $5,000 worth of gift cards for me. I want you to go out and buy certain gifts, and I want you to ship them to these customers that I have, these people that I have. Put in an expense report, and I will make sure that you get paid. Okay? How many people are going to say no to the chief executive officer or the chief finance officer or one of the people with have a C in front of their name? Not many. People will go out and do this. They'll submit the expense report, and the chief executive officer is going to call up and say, why are you submitting an expense report? And so you've just been scammed. That's one of the things you have to look for. If somebody in authority asks you to do something, call that person up or walk down to their office and say, did you really ask me to do this for you? And if they did, then go ahead and do it. If they didn't, then you saved the company money. Saved yourself money, actually. Purchase a cash drain card. When you go to the stores, or if you're still going to the stores and you purchase the card, if they are out in the center of the store and you take the first couple cards off the rack, look at them and make sure the back has not been tampered with. If you have to buy a card from stores that have them out in the center of the store, Pick a card from the back of the rack. And again, make sure it hasn't been tampered with. What scammers will do is they will tamper with the card. They'll scratch off and get the numbers for the card, or they'll take the protective sealing out, get the numbers, and then put the sealing back again. And what they're doing is they're online waiting for that card to be activated. Once that's card activated, they will drain the cash off of it before you have a chance to spend it. The best thing to do on those things there is to get a gift card from behind the counter. And again, check on the gift card from behind the counter also. Make sure that hasn't been tampered with. And watch out for any type of payments demanding payment by a gift card. That is almost always a scam. Okay, defense against free gift cards. If it's an email or a text, you almost know it's going to be a scam. Just delete it. Examine the card carefully. Like we're talking about signs of tampering. Buy directly from the store where you're going to use the card. So if you're going to get like something from Apple, go to an Apple store to buy the card. That would be the best bet to do it. And again, protect your personal information. They're not going to ask for much personal information. Credit card number maybe, and that would be it. Also, make sure you save your receipts and your activation notices on all the cards. Okay, a couple general things to remember for the holiday season. If someone is making an offer that sounds too good to be true, it is. It's a scam. Now, when we talk about that there, like I said, if an offer comes up and we're offering more than a 65% discount, you can almost always bet that that's going to be a scam. If someone offering you goods and services on unrealistic discounts, 65% or more. If someone's getting you emotionally involved, a needy story, be careful. It could be a scam. Okay. Things to remember. Again, guard your emotions. I don't know how many times I'll do the guard the emotions and protect your personal information. That's what you have to do. Do the no response. Make sure you come up with a no response. And when you come right down to it, the only defense you have against scams are your due diligence and your vigilance. Remember our Amazon.com website, okay, that we had up. Something like that comes up. It looks like a good site. You're definitely going to click on that site until you realize that the bottom one in green, that's your actual Amazon site. The top one in red is Alpha M Alpha, not AMA. So you have to be careful what the scammers will do. Okay, again, just general holiday tips. Make a budget, stick to the budget, make a list of gifts that people want. Do your research. Look for the reviews and recommendations of the different products that you're going to buy, the different sites that you go to, the warranties that are out there. Also, the return policy. Make sure that there's an easy return policy if you buy it, or if you're buying it for somebody, that person can return it without too much of a hassle. Again, look for your best deals, obviously. Keep track of your purchases, keep all your receipts, keep all your activation documentation. And again, give gifts. Do not give your personal information out. Any question on personal information? There it is again, protect your personal information. On your calls, if you get a call from a scammer, okay, we recommend you do not answer the phone. You let the phone go to voicemail. If it is important, they'll leave you a voicemail. If it's not important, don't worry about it and do not return the call. If you get a call and it looks like a number that you may know, again, the scammers can do what's called spoofing. And a scammer can make a number look as though it's your next door neighbor. Unless they leave a message, do not call them back. If you recognize the phone number, do not use your phone to automatically call the number back. Dial the number, because I can spoof a number. And one of the things that scammers do is they'll spoof a number. They'll let it ring, maybe let it only ring once to get your curiosity up, because it's, your area code and all the digits look like it might even be in your neighborhood. You may know this person. And what they've done is they've spoofed a number that when you dial it by using the phone instead of the keypad, it will actually take you down in the Caribbean, which is $15 to $25 a minute. They will keep you on for as long as they can. And unlike the United States, these are like the 900 numbers. You would call the 900 number. You would get some message saying that this number charges you so much a minute. The Caribbean doesn't. They just let it go through. Again, do your research. Engage your inner skeptic. Well, what I say here is, remember what your mother told you. If you want to post something on the internet, you want to post something on social media, make sure if you're writing it, if it's a picture, if it's a video, that you could show your mother, and your mother would sit there and say, okay, yes, you're allowed to do that. That looks fine, Martin Paul. You can put that on the, you can put that out there. Okay. If you're embarrassed to show your mother, don't put it out there. The other thing that your mother told you to do, which I'm going to tell you not to do, is your mother told you, do not slam the phone down, do not be rude to the person, you know, things like that. For the scammers, I will tell you, slam the phone down and be rude to them, because these are professionals. They're trying to rip you off and trying to get your money from you. Okay. So again, this is just, you know, my thing. So far, no one has given me a blowback on that. I haven't had too many mothers say, hey, you're wrong. And the last one is share your story. I don't think anybody from this audience has seen any of my lectures before. So what I'll do is share a story. And what we ask you to do there is, if you have been scammed, I know it's very embarrassing to share your story, but please do it, because that lets other people know what's out there. If you think there's a scam out there, let other people know that these scams are out there. When you talk to people about this presentation, let them know that, hey, you know, some guy gave us a presentation and these are scams that are going out there, and you really got to be careful what you're doing. Now, the story that I will share with you to give you an idea of just how professional these guys are. And one of the things, and we'll go over this in the next lecture on cybersecurity, is a lot of people that I'll give these lectures to will come up to me and say, well, I was really stupid that I got scammed. Okay, one, no, you're not stupid. The professional played on your emotions. Okay, you were scammed. You were a victim of a professional. You are not stupid. Okay, and sharing your story to give you an idea that it has absolutely nothing to do with intelligence. Does anybody know a Billy Webster? Nobody knows Billy Webster? Okay. Billy Webster almost got scammed twice. The first scam was the grandparent scam, or an imposter scam. His granddaughter supposedly called him up. She was in trouble. He was going to send money to her. And a friend asked him, said, where are you going, Billy? Well, I'm going to send money to my granddaughter because she's in trouble. Said, no, well, stop. Call your granddaughter up first. So he called his granddaughter up. His granddaughter's at home and hasn't the foggiest idea what granddad's talking about. Okay, because she is absolutely in no trouble at all. Second scam, a friend of his gave him an email, supposedly in Spain, lost his wallet, needs money to get home. Could he wire him some money? So Billy's down at the Western Union office, gets ready to wire his friend some money. The Western Union clerk stops him and again says, call your friend up and make sure he's actually in Spain. Calls his friend up. His friend's at work. Has no idea what he's doing, what Billy thinks he's doing in Spain. The next day, Billy goes to work, gets his people together, tells them the story. Now, remember I asked you if anybody knew of Billy Webster. You may not know this gentleman named Billy Webster, but you probably heard of a William Webster, used to be the director of the FBI and the CIA. If you can scam him, you can almost scam anybody. Okay, so again, nothing to do with intelligence, strictly emotion. Any questions, any comments? You're on mute, Trudy. Trudy, you're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Is that better? Okay.
Yep.
Can you go to the next slide, please?
Oh, there you go. For some reason, I always forget that one. If you're unsure whether or not there's a scam, or if you want to check out some scams, go to our AARP.org Fraud Watch Network. It's a real good site. It has a listing of all the different scams that are out there and the do's and don'ts around the scams. And if you've ever feel that you've been victimized from a scam, you can dial the helpline at 877-908-3360. Thank you, Trudy.
You're welcome. I'm going to ask the audience to go ahead, no, flip back, leave that slide up on the screen, just so they have more
Okay.
time to get the website and the phone number. I'm going to go ahead and ask the group if they'd like to unmute, and if they have any specific questions. And while you're unmuting, I haven't even had a chance to tell Martin what happened to me over the weekend. Raise your hand if you're on Facebook. Facebook recently purchased Instagram. And what happened to me over the weekend was someone used my Facebook information and created their own Instagram page using my name, my photograph. And because I don't have an Instagram account, I couldn't get Instagram to take down the information. And in the process, whoever did this was sending messages via Facebook Messenger to everyone on my friend list. And I have pretty much every precaution and every safeguard that you can have on Facebook to protect my own personal information, but they still managed to get into my Facebook account, get enough information to create an Instagram account and to send messages to all of my friends. Some of the messages were just, hi, how are you doing? But some of the messages were that I was collecting money for the Lions Club and would I send them a contribution? So over the weekend, I had to unfriend all of my friends.
You're breaking up, Trudy.
Terrible.
Over the weekend, I had to unfriend all of my friends on Facebook in order to get those messages to stop. And I'm still in the process of trying to get Instagram to take down that account. But Instagram now wants me to prove that I am who I am, although they didn't ask the person creating the account to prove who they were before they did that. So you need to be real careful with your Facebook information as well. And now I'll let you ask questions.
Anybody have any questions or comments, anything?
I got one of those grandparent calls.
Yeah.
They, said your grandson this and that, and I said, no, thanks, and hung up. I just, I'd heard that one too many times.
I had a friend that got the call, and he doesn't have any grandkids either.
And I once got a phone call from my own phone number, spoofing my phone number. And I had fun with that one because I told the guy on the phone, I said, hey, according to my caller ID, you're my husband. How are you doing?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said earlier, don't log into a public Wi-Fi like hotels and places like that on your social media accounts.
Correct.
What about email accounts? Like
I would recommend not logging into a public Wi-Fi on any account, because what happens is when you log on, a scammer can look at everything you're doing. They can look at if you're doing transactions.
Does that include the computers at our library, for example?
If they're on public Wi-Fi and they're not protected, yes.
Okay.
We do have some protections against certain websites out there, firewalls, but that's not 100% protection. We try to keep our computers free of, the keyboard counters, but that can all be done electronically now. So we can't protect against everything.
Okay, what I do is like when I use my phone, I don't know if you can see this or not. That comes out at all. Secure VPN. Okay, that's on my phone. So when I use my phone, even at home, when I'm using my phone, I'm on a VPN line. So what that does is that adds a little bit more protection. That's again, I'm going from point A to point B, like through a pipeline, and the scammers aren't supposed to be able to get on that pipeline. And it just adds another layer of protection.
What is a VPN line?
It's a virtual protective network.
Okay.
And a lot of your antivirus programs will have it. You usually have to pay a couple dollars extra for it. When I go online, a lot of times when I'm with my computer, I'll go on VPN, even though I'm at home. And I know supposedly that the internet that I'm using is protected. I'll just use VPN anyway. Just like I said, just as a layer of another layer of protection for you.
And those VPNs are easy to install and activate.
The ones I've had are easy, yes.
So that's a device you have to go purchase or a program you have to purchase and install on your devices.
It's usually a piece of software, and they'll come out. Now, if you have like an internet provider, they may have something available. If you have a antivirus program like Norton, McAfee, they may have something available. And if they, I know like Norton, if they have that available, I use Norton, and this is not, you know, saying you should get Norton or not a sell thing, but when I said I wanted VPN, they downloaded the VPN both on my computer and every device that I have the antivirus one on. So I have it on my phone. My wife has it on her phone, her computer, my computer. We all have VPNs now.
Yeah.
And to activate it, all you do is just press the button. It says, "Do you want to activate VPN?" Yes. And then you turn it on and off whenever you want to.
Okay.
How is it charged?
Pardon?
How is it charged?
It's charged. It was charged right to the regular software that I have. It's, you know, it adds a couple more dollars to it. I mean, it's not for free, but it adds a couple more dollars. And again, it's how much do you trust the your Wi-Fi that you're using today?
Not much.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. And again, if you use your phone, you go to, you know, you go out for a trip. You use your, you know, hopefully we'll go out for a trip next year. But, you know, you use your, yeah, really, you use your phone. If a scammer's around, they can find out what you're, who you're talking to, you know, things like that.
I have mine on a subscription service. They just charge my credit card $40 once a year.
There you go.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is a very elementary question, so they say no question is stupid, but I'm going to ask you this anyway. How do you know what your internet provider is? Like if I have Comcast, I was under the impression that our security came through that what we pay Comcast for our internet provider.
Yeah, okay, all the internet providers, at least the commercial ones that I know of, they'll provide some type of security on the internet for you.
Right.
Okay. How much though, I really can't tell you. You have to contact them and find out just how protected am I.
Yeah. Okay. So that, can you layer your protection? Like,
Yeah, all that does is just add another layer on your protection. Now, some of the things, now I will say one thing, when I use my VPN, some of the sites that I normally go to will not let me use my VPN.
yeah, that was my next question.
Okay, and one of them is Netflix, because
sorry?
Netflix is international, and
Oh,
Netflix has a thing in Britain.
Okay.
So if I use my VPN and go to Britain, supposedly I can pull down things off the British Netflix that are not available on the American Netflix.
Uh-huh.
So that VPN connection, Netflix will not allow me to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But so for all my investments, all my banking, everything like that, they have no problem with me using a VPN. And then of course they are supposed to have secure sites also. In fact, on the next one we go over, the cyber one, I think we'll have a lot of your questions may be answered on that one, as what's out there and what we have to look for on cybersecurity. And when we talk cybersecurity, you'll see that I'm not only going to cover cybersecurity, I'm also going to cover the traditional type of security, because they're starting to overlap today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if anybody else has had this happen to them or not, but I found that it's happened twice to me. And both times I was getting ready to log on to Amazon Prime to shop. And all of a sudden the bells go off and my computer message comes on that it's been locked down. Call Microsoft. So,
If you can wait a little bit, we'll go over that one.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's called your pop-ups.
Okay.
And there's one, if you well, I'll tell you what, Remind me when we get there to do the FBI pop-up.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Carol, what about we take, say, 5 or 10, say a 10-minute break?
Let's say a 5-minute break, and we'll give
Okay.
everybody a chance to get up and get a cup of coffee, and come back and do the part 2.
Got it.
Okay, we got it? Okay, this part of the presentation is cybersecurity or cyber safety. A lot of times when we talk about cybersecurity, it's usually mentioned in a corporate setting where the corporations are doing cybersecurity. But a lot of the techniques and security measures that the corporations take can be ported over fairly readily to what we need to do to not only our computers, our cell phones, but also what the actions that we have to take for ourselves for our cybersecurity thing. A couple things we want to get done with today's presentation: introduce you to cybercrime, what it is, introduce you to identity theft. Now, identity theft is one of these scams. It's not really a scam. It is in itself a federal crime. Although, people say, hey, I've been, my identity has been stolen. It is in itself a federal crime. We're going to understand the scams. We're going to say why we become victims. We're going to show you who the actors are when scams are taking place. We're going to go over a little bit about the scams that are out there and what threats they cause. And we're going to show you your defenses against them, both cyber defenses and also the low-tech defenses. And then if you do become a victim, what you need to do to regain your identity back. Okay, a couple things that we really want to take away from this particular presentation. Scammers really only want 2 things from you. They want your money, and they want your personal identifiable information, or your PPI. And if you remember the last lecture, I said protect your information. That's what I'm talking about right there, your PPI. They do this by getting you emotionally involved, okay? If you step back and you think logically, you're not going to give me this stuff. You're not going to give the scammer this stuff. But if I can get you emotionally involved, you're going to start giving me, the scammer, a lot of things that they want and you don't really want to give them. And again, your only 2 weapons: due diligence and vigilance. Okay, on your different crimes, say cybercrime. Cybercrime is basically any crime that's done over the internet, through a computer, through a cell phone, anything like this. This would be your definition of cybercrime. And they do it to collect information, to distribute information, and these are all crimes. Again, cybercrime connected with the internet. Identity theft, what we were talking about there, is the gaining or getting your personal identifiable information and using that to run scams. Now, on the personal identifiable information, okay, what is that? Okay, it's your mailing address, it's your name, it's your birthday, it's your phone number, it's your email. It's anything that a scammer can use to identify a person with. Okay, your social security number, your Medicare number, your medical information. Again, anything that's connected to you that a scammer can pick up and say, boom, this belongs to Trudy. Okay, something I can say, if I got Trudy's email address, that's personal identifiable information on her. Now, one of the things with personal identifiable information, the reason why I bring it up, this is the fastest growing crime in the world today. Every 2 seconds, somebody's personal identifiable information is compromised in some way. Somebody gets an email address, somebody gets a phone number, somebody gets a social security card. And last year you had something like 16.7 million people lose some part of their identity, and it cost about $16.8 billion. So it's a very lucrative business out there for these scammers to get that information. Okay, why we become victims, okay? We do not look at ourselves as being stupid or anything like that. Like I said last time, you are a victim of a professional. Now, when we look at the scammer, okay, we say, what type of person would do these things? Okay, scammers have been known to have what's called a triad or dark triad personality. They usually have 3 things in their personality. They're narcissistic, psychotic, and Machiavellian. They're narcissistic and they think that they're the only ones that are important in the world. The rules do not apply to them. And I'll do it because I want to do it. And I really don't care what you think about it. Okay? Psychotic, because they don't care about people. They have absolutely no empathy for you. If I've ripped you off all your savings, okay, fine. Go out and borrow some more money so I can rip you off some more. Does it hurt you? I don't care. Scammers do not care. Okay? And Machiavellian basically is that scammer can talk you into things that you will do and that you don't realize you're doing it until it's too late. So these three things form the dark triad, and most of the scammers have one or more of these personality types. Okay? So you are going up against not only a professional that can do this, but you're going up a person who's got some psychological defects or some personality defects. Okay, so this is what you're facing out there, or we're facing out there. And basically, the ends justifies the means. The scammer doesn't care how they do it, just as long as they get your money or your identification. Okay, how do they do it? What are the triggers? Okay, anything that will set off your emotions. Okay, if I say, I've got a pornographic video of you on WebTube, on Webbase, what are you going to do? Is that going to all of a sudden, oh, think of something? Okay, if you get a letter, an email that in great details tells you that I've hacked your computer, and you know I've hacked your computer because I've got your name and a password that you use, and what I've done on your computer, and what I've seen you do on your computer, on and on and on, it usually starts to get a little emotional involvement in there. Okay, and this is when we say, you've got to step back, but you get that emotional involvement. If I tell you your granddaughter's been, kidnapped, if I tell you, hey, I'm from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, we have a warrant out for your arrest, or your IRS number has been suspended, anything that will get anything emotional to get you emotionally upset is what the scammer is going to do. And then they couple that emotion with some persuasion tactics, and you'll see how these things will work together. And who are the victims? Well, we are the victims. And basically what happens to us, our brains have been hijacked. A lot of the things that happen to us is hardwired into us because it was hardwired for our survival. And we have to remember that bad will overcome good. If I present a bad situation to you and a good situation to you, you will act on the bad situation faster than you will on a good situation. And again, what we do is we act on our emotion and not our logic. Okay, some of the emotions that are hardwired, and when I say hardwired, these have been done since our evolution. These emotions are hardwired into us that there's nothing we can really do with them other than we have to try to recognize them. Now, if a scammer can get these going before your logical mind thinks about it, the scammer has you. What happens on your mind is a trigger will be given to you. And your mind actually sits there and says, okay, well, there's your emotional part of the mind. Well, there's a logical part of the mind. Oh, the trigger says, well, okay, fine. And the logical mind takes over and you do something logical. If the trigger is bad enough that it clicks on one of these emotions to the point where it's either embarrassment or shame or anger or something, that the emotional part takes over the logical part doesn't have a chance to do anything. And your emotions take over. And you're acting emotionally, okay? Look at back when you had saber-toothed tigers. If you saw a little kitty cat walking around, you had no problem with that one. You'd go out and pet it, give it a little piece of meat or something like that. If you saw a saber-toothed tiger, what did you do? Did you think, oh, maybe I should run? No, you immediately ran because your emotions took over your logic, okay? So this is what's happened when we're getting scammed. They're working on our emotions. And let's talk about persuasion tactics, okay? One of the things that they will do is they'll promise you phantom riches. They will promise you riches beyond your wildest dreams. This is when you win the lottery, okay? They will guarantee you certain things, okay? They'll guarantee you if you invest in my mutual fund here, I guarantee you 100% interest or 100% return. So they'll do this phantom riches thing. They get your greed working on you, okay? They'll start profiling you. Does anybody like Sherlock Holmes? Anybody ever read Sherlock Holmes novels? Okay. One of the things, if you ever read Sherlock Holmes, you'll notice every now and then in the book, he'll start what's called cold reading somebody. He'll start reading you and telling you things about yourself. If you met me, say, in a social organization where I had a tie and a suit on, okay, you would notice a couple things about me, which you could immediately start profiling me. One, you'll see a wedding ring on, so you know I'm married. You see a college graduation ring on, so you know I went to college. You'll see that it's from military school, so I probably have some affinity toward the military. You may see something on my lapel that has an organization of some type. So right now, you know I went to college, I have some type of military thing, I'm married, and I got some type of organization. Now you're starting to build a whole profile of me. And all we did is say hello. All right. So this is the profiling that they'll use. One of the stories that I'll do on the profiling is when my mother passed away, I had all her mail come down to Virginia instead of Pennsylvania. And I got 2 letters the same day from the same organization, and it was giving a free banquet. And what it was, a free dinner. And what it was is they're going to sell you an investment type of package. So I'm sitting there reading these things. I figured, well, let me see what happens. So I filled mine out, and they said, well, your annual wage was, my annual wage was about $5,000. So I sent it into them. My mother's annual wage was $250,000. Now you were supposed to get 2 tickets, okay? For some reason, they never answered my email or my mail. I don't know why. But my mother got 4 tickets. Now, you know, if she was alive and she actually went to that event, somebody would be looking for her. As soon as she came in with her friends, somebody would pick her up. They would take her to the table. They would talk to her. They would find out as much information as they could about her. They would pass that on to the next person who would start feeding this information back to her to get her trust and confidence in order to scam her. Okay, so this is how the scammers work. Okay, source credibility. What you're looking at there is the scammers tell you if there's, say it's a investment thing, or they went to the Wharton School of Business. Okay, they've been in financial management for 20 years. They've done all kinds of things. You're at a closed situation where you really can't check this person out, but they will tell you all these good things about themselves. Okay, social conscious. Again, everybody's buying into this thing. You don't want to be the last one, do you? You don't want to miss out on this good deal. So again, they tell you how everybody's doing this, how they sold it to their church, their people in their church, and you know I wouldn't scam on anybody from my church. Okay, things like that. So they'll start the social conscious thing. Reciprocity, what they'll do there, or reciprocity, they'll offer you something where I've got to catch a plane in 2 hours. So what I'll do is, if you buy this thing now, I'll sell it to you. I'll waive my commission. You don't have to pay my commission on this thing, but you have to buy it now. You have to pay for it now. Scarcity, again, it's scarce, whatever it is, whatever I'm selling or whatever the scammer's selling, it's in scarce supply. They don't have enough of it. And intimidation can go one of 2 ways. Either they will actually be really nasty to you and get you feeling that you want to do this thing just to get them off your case type thing, or they'll be, you don't really want to buy this virus protection for protection of your children, for you. You don't care enough about your children to protect them against this. And it's limited supply, so you want to buy it now. So whatever it is, they'll intimidate you somehow to get you worked up to feel that you may miss out on an offer, that you'll want to do it now. You have to do it now. And again, all of these things work on your emotions. They're going to play on your emotions in some way. We talked about gathering information, okay? I don't know if you even know about the internet or not, but you look at the internet basically in 3 different sections. Okay, your first section is the surface web. This is where we go on Amazon.com, Facebook, our banking accounts, everything like that's on the surface, password protected, go through the thing, open to everybody, whatever you want to do. The next layer is your deep web. This is information, it's usually corporate type of information, password protected. You may need special software for it. No reason really for us to get into that particular part of the web. Then you have the dark web. Dark web, you need special software for, which by the way, you can get online for free. You need special software for it. It is on this dark web that I can buy, or the scammer can buy or sell anything. Use your imagination and they can sell it or buy it on the web, okay? Social security card, social security number, anywhere from $1 to $5 to maybe $300, depending on the age of the social security number. credit card numbers with the CVC for the back of it. I can buy between $35 and $50 what's called a fool's package, which has a credit card number, Medicare number, medical number is in it, may have a driver's license number, social security number, okay, all on one person. Okay, this is all available on the internet, or on the internet, on the dark web of the internet, okay? One of the questions I was asked is, well, we know about it. We know it exists out there. Why don't we shut it down? The reason why we don't shut it down, it was developed by, anybody want to guess? No guesses? United States Navy developed the dark web for the ability to anonymously send information around the world. Once, of course, the scammers find out about it, they say, this is a good deal. So they now send anonymous information around the world. And it is very, very hard to follow the information. When we talked about a VPN connection, we said, from point A to point B, okay? Pretty easy to follow that connection. If you go on the dark web, it may go from point A to B to C to D and just goes all over a myriad of places before it actually ends up where it's supposed to end up at. So the dark web is out there. It will stay out there for Lord knows how long. In fact, I did one research paper I did. They had had a thing where the State Department was actually funding some things on the dark web, again, for dissidents in other countries, so they can anonymously post things on the dark web. So the dark web, unfortunately, is out there to stay, and this is how a lot of scammers get the information. If you've ever been notified that something that you have has been breached, maybe a data breach, assume that whatever was breached is on the dark web for sale right now. Okay, and the thing with the dark web, the scammer can sell your social security number more than one time. So it's just out there. They can just keep selling it for, until forever. Other ways they obtain information. Okay, phishing, smishing, and of course in person. I couldn't find another smishing for in person. But what you have there, phishing is basically email. Vishing is voicemail or voice. And smishing is text messages. This is how they gain their information. Okay. On the scams now, when we start talking about some of the scams that we'll have, okay, most of the scams will come across to you either by email or by text. You'll have some scams will come across on the telephone. Some scams will come in person. And they're all basically going to follow the same information that I'm going to give you here in the next 2 or 3 slides. They're going to make contact with you in some way. Well, if you look at the email or the text messages, they're going to have a suspicious sender. Okay, if they have like the one I showed you for DHL, if you take the DHL one and right click on it or roll your mouse over it, you will see a completely different email address than what it's supposed to be. And if you look, sometimes they'll have the 2 letters at the end of it. That's the country code. You can look that up on the internet, what country it's from. Okay, it will have a suspicious address. When they talk to you, either on the phone or in person, they will have a very professional demeanor, okay? And what they will do is they will build trust with you. They'll have a lot of questions, they will answer yes. Now, if you think about this, think about salespeople. Think about when you go buy a car or when you buy an appliance. What's that salesperson doing? They're asking you questions that you're applying, usually saying yes to. How are you today? Are you feeling okay? Is it a nice day? Do you like the store? Do you like the appliance? Yes, yes, yes. And what they're doing is they're building this relationship with you. They're building trust with you until they start going on a hard sell. And then they want to hard sell you whatever products these guys are doing. If you look at your text, your emails, even on your phone, or if the person sees you in person, it's a generic greeting. You don't get an email. I've never got an email that says, "Hi, Martin." I've got an email that says, "Hi, Bailey.m," which is part of my email address. Or I get an email that says, "Dear," or "Dearly beloved." Okay, they're all generic. One of the reasons why they're generic is because the scammers probably sent about 5,000 to 10,000 of these today and really can't remember all the names he sent them to. So it's generic because they have no idea who they're sending them to. Inside the correspondence, something good or bad has happened. your social security number has been compromised, your Medicare number has been compromised, or you won the Irish lottery for $25 million. So whatever it is, something is going to, again, work on your emotion, either greed with the lottery or fear because your account's been suspended, or your benefits may be suspended, or your number's been compromised. Okay, something's good, something bad is happening here. Okay, the next thing you'll find out that whatever is required of you is urgent. You have to do it now. If you don't do it now, threats or consequences are going to happen. Usually a lot of times what will happen is you'll be notified by law enforcement. You may have missed jury duty, or you may have done something else very, very bad out there. There's an arrest warrant on you. In fact, the sheriff's office is coming down to you right now, and they're going to arrest you. So you have to do something. You have to pay a fine right now to me, and I can call off the arrest warrant. So again, required action immediately, threats and consequences. You'll find the URLs. If you see a URL on the either the text or the email, they usually don't go where they say they're going to. If you're getting run your mouse over it, or right click and then copy and paste onto another piece of paper, you'll see where it says it's going to, or what's supposed to go to, it's not going there. If you remember the one for DHL, it's supposed to go to DHL, it went somewhere in Russia. Okay, so this is what you're looking for there. Also, the scammers will use, so will legitimate companies, they'll use a shortened URL. Be very, very careful if you don't know where that text is coming from, or you don't know where that email is coming from, clicking on any URL, and especially the short ones. The short ones you really can't identify readily. So be careful on the short ones. A lot of times, and it used to be, they will include poor grammar or poor spelling. You'll see a lot of grammatic errors, a lot of spelling errors. Nowadays, you will see not necessarily poor grammar and not necessarily poor spelling. But what you will see is grammar and spelling as though you were in the British Isles or in one of the British colonies. Okay, so they're talking English, or they're communicating you in English, but it's the Queen's English, and that comes out real readily if you're an American from Pennsylvania like I am. Whoa, they don't speak this way where I'm from. Okay, they'll include attachments. Do not, under any circumstances, be curious about clicking on the attachments, because this is where you're going to download malware and may take over your computer. A lot of times what they'll do is inside the email, they'll say they want your name, address, telephone number, attach your identification card to it, stuff like this. They may want your Medicare number. They'll be asking you information that sometimes the sender should already know. If you get a message from the IRS or Social Security, why would they want your Social Security number? They're the ones who gave it to you. If you get a thing from Medicare, why would they want your Medicare number until they start talking to you? They gave you your Medicare number. So a lot of the stuff, they already have this information. The legitimate senders will not be asking you for that information. Again, if the offer is too good to be true, you know it's a scam. It is too good to be true. And if they ask for payment in untrustable methods, Bitcoin, gift card, PayPal, or any other pay apps, or wire transfer, again, it's probably going to be a scam. Okay, one thing we have is pop-up messages, and we'll go over those. Lady who asked me about I asked her to do the FBI one. We'll go on the FBI one maybe after it, and I'll show a pop-up message from the FBI. But some of the other scams that are out there, imposter scams. Imposter scams will go either from the federal government, state government, local government. There'll be an official. They, again, will start out the conversation very professionally. They will give you an employee number. They will give you what unit they're from. And then they will tell you what's wrong with your account. Your number's been compromised, or there's an arrest warrant out for you, or something like that. Or they may tell you the opposite, is that you, in fact, paid too much taxes and we're going to give you your money back. Okay. One of the things you have to remember, federal government, state government, and local government will never call you. They will always mail first. They'll send a UPS, or not UPS, but United States Postal Service, send a snail mail first before they give you a call. They will not threaten you on the phone, and they will not ask for any type of immediate payment on the phone. So these are all your government agencies. These are your imposter scams. You may also have family imposter scams. If you get a family or a friend imposter scam, recommended you hang up and call that person up. call your granddaughter up or call your friend up and say, Trudy, are you really in trouble? You know, no, don't call Trudy up because sometimes she is. So what you want to do there is you want to call that person up and verify what that person or that communication is about the imposter scam, what they're telling you. Lottery or sweepstakes, there's also government grants. You'll get notified that you've won the lottery or you've won a sweepstake or you've won a government grant. Okay, number one, government does not, you do not get awarded a government grant unless you've applied for it. Okay, unless you apply for a government grant, the government's not going to award you a grant. Lotteries and sweepstakes. Most of these lotteries and sweepstakes are from overseas. Okay, unless you've played them, you're not going to be able to collect. And if they're overseas, they're illegal for you to play in the United States. So you're not going to be able to collect that either because it's illegal. I went to these, there was one in Ireland I went to, filled out the information. And once I put down, they said country, United States, they came back with a pop-up saying that, you know, I'm not allowed to play that if I'm in the United States because it's illegal for the United States to play foreign lotteries. So the Ireland itself came out with a pop-up like that there. Also, you'll find the lotteries like what is it, the PCH, Publisher Housing Club, Publishing Clearinghouse. Okay, we'll send you a thing from the lottery saying you've won the lottery. Okay, no, you haven't. If you haven't played it, you can't win it. And a lot of the scammers will sit there and say, well, we've picked your email out from, you know, several thousand emails and you've won. No, you haven't. So just, you know, it's a scam, just delete it. Charity scams we went over last time. Again, the scammers make up a fake charity. They'll try to intimidate you somehow to get you to give them money to the scammers. Employment scams, unemployment scams, especially today with the virus going on, are out there. And what they'll do is they'll say, we have this job, it fits you perfectly. It gives you whatever hours you want to work. You need no education, no qualifications, no background. We'll train you for a price. You don't have to worry about selling anything. We'll give you the inventory, or actually you'll buy the inventory off of us that you can sell, and we'll give you again whatever training you will need. All you have to do is give us an upfront money to get the job. No legitimate job is going to require you to pay upfront to get the job. Number one, that's the first flag. Second flag is all the training they're going to give you, any of the inventory they're going to give you, you're going to have to pay for it, and it's basically going to be useless. And whatever training they give you will not be enough. You'll have to keep getting more training and more training and more training until you figure, okay, you can't afford it anymore and just drop it. Also, if they want to do a background check on you, and they say it's going to cost you money to pay for your background check, disconnect right there. Legitimate companies will do the background check only after you've been hired or have a contingency letter, and they will pay for the background check. You do not have to pay for the background check. Online shopping scams, again, we went over those a little bit last time. You buy something, you never receive it. You obviously need a tracking number. You sell something, you never receive the payment for that. Investment and financial scams. These are the ones that come up with guarantees. They will guarantee you a rate of return. They will guarantee you so much money if you invest, but you have to invest now because it's a scarce commodity that we are investing in. Okay, these are all scams. There's no financial investment out there that will guarantee you any money or any return on your investment. Okay, other than maybe U.S. government savings bonds. Other than that, mutual funds, stocks, no one's going to guarantee anything on those. No legitimate company is going to guarantee you anything on those. And then your romance scams. Now, romance scams are interesting. What happens there is you have usually made contact or made the initial contact with that one there. Yeah, the person feels lonely. They fill out a survey, a profile of some type. They post it on the website, and probably within about an hour, you get 3 or 4 hits on this particular profile, and they're all perfect. These are all the person of your dreams, because this is what your profile filled out, and this is what the guy or the scammer is going for. Okay, they will then ask you probably within the next 2 or 3 days to go off the website or go off the dating site and go under their private email. Okay, that's one big flag there. Then they will start sending you little trinkets, you know, maybe a teddy bear, some candy, some flowers or whatever. Again, to build trust, to build confidence in them. they will pay an inordinate amount of attention to you. They will pay more attention to you than you've ever been paid for before. They will just pay attention to you. They will also start asking you some questions about things. They will also start saying, well, what about, and they'll also write you poetry. Let me get into the poetry one. They'll write you poetry, which the only guy that you ever known to write poetry like this is probably like Lord Byron. And if you go to the internet, you Google what they've wrote you on there, you'll find out that Lord Byron probably wrote it. All right. So they'll write you stuff that they've posted on the internet. It's been done several times. They'll send you pictures of themselves. And this is what you remember last time. Be careful of the pictures and stuff that you post on the internet. They will send you pictures that this person is just drop dead gorgeous. I had one gentleman was in a romance scam. The lady sent him a picture. He Googled it, and the picture appeared 17 times on the internet. It was a Miss Venezuela. A lady was in a romance scam. They Googled her picture. It appeared 11 times. It was a male model. Okay, so they will send you this type of a picture like that there. And again, they get you more and more involved with them, emotionally drawn in with them. And then what they do, and this is the big flag, they'll start asking you for money. And it may be to pay off a gambling debt. It may be to help their mother out because she's sick. It may be something else. Whatever it is, they'll start asking you for money. And you'll never be able to meet them because they're in the military overseas. They're Doctor Without Borders overseas. They're on an oil rig drilling in the Indian Ocean. Whatever it is, you're not going to be able to meet them. And when they do finally want to come back to the United States, something always happens that their planes were canceled, their leave was canceled, something happens. And we have found out that the victims almost never asked for the money back. And they never asked for the money back because they were so emotionally involved with this person that they feel that the person is really trustworthy. And whatever, people are telling you about being a scam, no, it's not really a scam. These people are really trustworthy. So these are your romance scams. Now, on your pop-ups and messages, this is where you get on your technical stuff. Phishing example, okay, now these are the ones that I've actually gotten on my computer. The Netflix one, this is a phishing example, an email that I've received. If you notice, this is hi dear. It doesn't say who I am, it just says hi dear on it. It says update my account. Okay, well, if I press on that update, it's either going to download something that I don't want on my computer, or it's going to send me to possibly another website, or it's going to start fishing for information. It's going to ask me, how do I want to pay for my account, credit card? Do I want to send them Bitcoin through the internet? How do I want to do it? Okay. It may ask me for other credit information. It may ask me for social security number. So it may start asking me for information. Again, it's the phishing expedition. What's interesting about Netflix, number one, said hi dear. So they have the foggiest idea who the account belongs to. And then it just goes on in a real nice letter, your friends at Netflix. The other thing is I do not have a Netflix account. So they just send this out to anybody and everybody who will bite on the thing. Okay. This is a type of phishing email. The next one is smishing. This is a texting email that I received. Okay, it says someone says, hey, I've been in contact with somebody that has the virus. In order to get self-tested, find out more information, click on the website down below. If you click on that particular website, it will download malware on your device, on your phone. Again, it may ask for certain information from you. So all these things are out there. Some of them look legit. Go ahead. This is what they want you to do. Think they're legit. On your pop-ups, I think somebody said they had a pop-up saying your computer's is being taken over by something. Okay, there's your pop-up right there. Your actions required, your threats detective. It's telling you do not try to manually remove the virus. It's going to cause hardware failure. Okay, when you receive these, do not call the 888 number on there. Okay, do not call that number at all. Again, you're going to get somebody who wants to gain access to your computer. It may give you some other directions as far as turning over access to your computer. It may have a website to connect to instead of a phone number to call. Okay, so these are the type of pop-ups. You see these automatically pop up. All of a sudden you start getting worried. My God, my computer has a virus, and what do I do? Okay, the best thing to do is just delete it. When you delete it, and we'll go over this again, you see that little X up there? All right. Absolutely, under no circumstances do you hit that X. you hit anything on this particular pop-up. Okay, you go to your browser, your toolbar, and delete it from your toolbar. If it does not delete for some reason, go down and go to your program and get off your browser. Close your browser down, or even shut off your computer, and then log back on. Okay, that will get rid of the pop-ups. Okay, these again scams or pop-ups. They're trying to scare you, trying to get you emotionally involved. As you can see there, tech scams, 3.3 million people a year, annual cost $1.5 billion. And for the average cost is $450. That's not too bad for maybe about a half hour's work. And it's all tax-free, by the way. Okay, things you should do. If you get an unsolicited call, again, hang up, especially if they claim to be tech support. One of the things we'll talk on the phone, I think I go this later on, but if I do not, you don't want to keep the person on the phone. You just want to hang up, get rid of them, okay? Fake virus alerts, again, shut down your computer, shut down your browser. Make sure your antivirus software is up to date. And as soon as you bring your browser up again, run a scan just in case of your computer. And keep all your software for your security software, your browser, your operating system, keep all that software up to date. Okay, things you should not do. Under no circumstances do you give remote access to anyone on your computer unless you've initiated the call. If you are having problems with your computer and you call up, say Microsoft or Comcast, and you'll get a tech on air, and they'll ask you permission. Can they take over your computer? And they will keep you on the phone, and they will tell you exactly what they are doing when they have your computer. And they will give your computer back to you and tell you to do certain things so that they can see you doing things. So under no circumstances do you give access unless you initiated the call. Do not give the number in the pop-up virus a call. Okay, again, that's only going to put you on a scammer who's going to try to get either access to your computer or try to fish for even other information. Okay, do not click on any links in the pop-up. Do not click on the little X, like I said before. Do not click on any body of the email at all. Okay, just leave the email alone. Go to your browser, your toolbar, and delete it from there. Okay. Make sure that when you purchase software, we were talking about purchasing VPN software, that's a company that you know. Do not purchase it from some third party, from some run-of-the-mill company. Purchase from somebody you know. McAfee, Norton, Microsoft, somebody like that who actually puts out a package. They're an established company. You know them. You can go online and get the ratings of the software. They're the people you want to get software from. Any sites that have been closed previously, you don't want to reopen after getting the scam pop-up. And beware of the refund scam. What they will do there is, if you buy software for, say, a third party, or if that tech guy comes on and you fall for the scam and he sells you some software, a couple weeks, couple months later, they may call you up and say, what do you think of the software? Well, chances are you're going to think the software is really bad because it absolutely doesn't work. You've still been getting robocalls. You've still been getting scams. You've been getting pop-ups. The thing doesn't work at all. What they will offer you then is a refund. If you give them either your credit card information so they can post a credit to your credit card, or if you give them your banking information so they can put money in the bank for you, they'll more than happily give you that refund, as long as you give them that credit card information or that banking information. Okay. Obviously, you're giving that personal identifiable information. Once they have that, they'll use it. You will not get a refund.
Martin, can I stop you for just one quick second, just for a clarification?
Yes.
In addition to the pop-up ads that say there's a virus on your computer, sometimes there's a virus on your computer threat comes in the form of what I call the blue screen of death, that it takes over your entire screen and
Trudy, hold up a second. I got the red screen of death. The next slide.
You got it? Okay. Never mind. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Things you do not do. Let's see where we were. Okay. The browser scam. Boom. There's a red screen of death.
That's
Okay.
it.
Now this one here, I got the email, and I clicked on the email, and the full screen turned red. Okay. What Trudy's talking about is, it used to be IBM had the blue screen of death on a lot of the IBM machines. You would get a blue screen of death, and once you got that, you're ready to get a new machine. It was basically what we had to do. And it tells you something about, again, your computer's been taken over. A lot of times what they will tell you is that your computer has already been taken over. Okay, and you have to do certain things. You have to click on this URL, or click on this, or download this attachment in order to undo the virus. Okay, basically what it's doing is saying, here's the blue screen of death or the red screen of death. Your computer's has a virus on it. You have to click on this URL, which will now download the virus, so you do have a virus on your computer. Okay, so again, any of this stuff comes out, shut the computer down, and use your toolbar, and nothing that's on the internet like that there. But I just, in fact, this came up yesterday. I don't think you have this on the handouts. This came up yesterday on my computer, and I thought, boy, this would be a good one to have as a pop-up there.
I had this one time.
Did you? Okay, yeah.
I had a screaming voice on my computer. And
Yeah.
they told me, don't cut it off, and don't this,
Yeah.
and don't that. It went on, 20 minutes or more. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the other room calling my brother. I couldn't reach anybody that had a clue, and I just unplugged it.
Yeah. If put,
It was scary. Wow.
again, see what they're doing is they're getting you emotionally involved.
Oh, yeah.
They got you scared to do something. If you had listened to the person on the talking ear, you would have pressed something. You would have done something. If push comes to shove, and you cannot shut your computer down any other way, pull the plug. Okay. Again, a lot of times we don't recommend pulling the plug because you may lose information. But if that's the only way you're going to get the stuff off of your screen, you may have to, as they say, suck it up and lose that information. Again, not something we want to do, but if you have to, that's something you can do. Okay, avoid scams. One, do not send any money. Do not share any information. I told you see that before. Do not share any information. If the message sounds too good to be true, it is. Strange messages from a friend. Be very wary of any messages that come from Trudy or me. You'll want to double check those things. Ask Carol if we're in fact sending anything. And make sure you thoroughly read your messages. Okay, again, there's your Amazon site. They'll say, hey, make sure you go on Amazon. This doesn't count on you guys because you've already seen all this one before, because there's your real Amazon site right there. But if you notice on the red one, the A, the capital A is in fact the capital alpha of the Greek alphabet. And the third letter N is the sigma, or the Greek alpha for the first letter of the alphabet. Whereas you see our Amazon is a little bit different. When you go on your sites, your secure sites, if you look to see whether it has HTTPS or at lock, that means the sites are secure. Again, these sites are more secure than the sites that do not have that on there. Okay, and the reason why I tend to be a little cautious and skeptical is there's nothing really secure out there 100%. Scammers can work on anything and try to break it somehow, one way or the other. But again, when you visit websites, make sure they have that S and that lock on it. If it does not, you'll want to get off that website because that means that website's not secure. Do not download or click on any type of icons from unknown websites. The email may be clickable. The entire email may be clickable. Okay. So again, what we're saying, when you get that email, it looks like a scam, delete it, but delete it from your browser toolbar. Do not delete it from the email itself. And control your emotions. Boom. Okay, what do we think about some factors about cybersecurity? Okay, a lot of times we say, okay, well, we need a good password. Okay, now when we talk about passwords, we usually sit there and say, well, I've got a password, and it's some passwords say, I like Hapkido. Hapkido is a martial art that I do. So put that, I like Hapkido. Or I may just put Hapkido on it. Okay, or I may sit there and say, okay, password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E. Or some people are still using password. Some people are still using 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so these are things that you're looking at there. One of the things you want to look at your password is the length of it. The longer the password, and I'm only going to say the little bit better it is. Okay. What you think instead of password, think passphrase. So there you see color of money. Now, one of the things that you might use is my aunt lives in Pennsylvania. Long one to type in, but it's also a long one to bust also. And if you put that without any breaks in it, okay, instead of my space, aunt space, if you put my aunt lives in Pennsylvania, run it all together, it takes something like 6 septillion years to bust, which is a 6 followed by 24 zeros. So it gives you an idea, the longer the password, the little bit, I'm only going to say the little bit better it is, okay? Avoid your patterns like your 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, avoid any patterns like that. Do not reuse your password, okay? And do not reuse your password on similar sites. So if you have financial sites, don't use the same password. And don't reuse the same password on the different sites. Make up new passwords. Avoid any type of password that may be something that's not similar to you, but something that can be connected to you. Like I said, Hubketo, okay? I take Hubketo. So you say, oh, that'd be a good password. Maybe he does Hubketo as a password, okay? I don't, by the way, but in case you're wondering. Some people will actually put their martial arts, or some people put soccer, or soccer star, or something like that. They'll put maybe their sport in it. They'll put their child's name in it. They'll put their wife's name in it. They'll put their dog's name in it. They'll put these things in it. Remember I asked you some of the questions they may ask on the quizzes or the surveys on Facebook. What's your dog's name? Because a lot of times you'll put that down as your password or as your password. My dog's name is Schultz. And I just answered that on a Facebook quiz. So now they know what my password is. Okay. So they'll start doing things like that. When you use a password, if you're in fact going to use a password instead of a passphrase, or even if you use a passphrase, do not use phrases that are in the dictionary. Okay. Or words that are in the dictionary. Now, one of the things, if you use, say, you want a 3-letter password, and you pick out a word from the dictionary. Dictionary's got 3-letter passwords. It's got 1,355 3-letter words. It's not going to take long to bust. Only have to go through 1,300 passwords to get your password. But now if I take it and I use 3 characters, symbols, alphas, everything, capital letters, small letters, everything like that, it's 15,000 or more. So there you see where you start mixing things up. It takes a little bit longer to use. Okay, for the color of money there, if you just use color of money, it will take 300 years to break that. Now that's on a piece of software that I use. It's basically saying one computer, how long it would take one computer to hack that particular software, or that password. Okay, so for your color of money, take about 300 years. If I put down color $$ of $ money, it will take supposedly 29 million years. So you see now as it start adding stuff, it starts getting a little harder to break that password. And then if I put down the password where I got capitals, zeros, numerals, letters, and stuff like this, like the last one down here, that supposedly will take 200 million years. So again, it takes a little bit longer to break that particular password. If you really want a great password, what you do, you use one of the password generators. Have them generate a password for you. It will generate the longest password that particular site will allow. Some of them will go up to 64 digits. And I sat down and did a password for 64, and all these were just a small letter A, 64 times. It will take, and I can't even pronounce it, it will take 100 dual trillion, it's 69 zeros, years to break that password. Okay, so again, the longer the password, the more it takes to break it. Passwords are only good up to a point though, because the scammers know they're out there. The scammers know that you use certain symbols and everything else in the passwords. They're used to that. They will do the dictionary one. They will do what's called a brute force attack on you to see if your password contains any dictionary words in it. Okay, so this is what the scammers are using out there, and it's all on software. Some scammers are not trying to sit there and go through it by himself. They're doing it all on software, so it doesn't take really all that long to do it. One of the things you'll do is you'll want to do a multi-factor authentication. This is where you have a dual authentication. You not only now need your username and password, you now get on the site, and the site is going to send you a message saying, how would you like your authentication sent to you? By email, by text, or by phone? You decide how you want it sent to you, and they will send it that way. Okay, so whenever I log on to any of my investment sites or any of my banking sites, I'll log on, the site will come back to me, and it will say, how do you want your authentication site? How do you want your authentication sent? And you have to pick that up. Today, I think most financial institutions, most investment institutions, and a lot of other institutions, I know DMV will have it, where you'll have multiple identification, multiple factor identification. And one of the reasons is you'll definitely want to use that so that if you in fact do lose your password, and a scammer gets on your site and tries to get into, say it's a financial site, tries to get into your financial site, the financial site is going to come back and say, how would you like your authentication sent? Well, if you say, if the scammer doesn't have your phone, doesn't have your computer, because it will send to the IP address on your computer, and doesn't have whatever other instruments they may have, computer's not going to be able to get on your site. Okay, so this is the dual, or this is a multi-function thing that you'll have. Okay, you've been hacked. Okay, one of the things that you want to do is you want to buy legitimate software from legitimate companies. Okay, and register it. When you buy your software, make sure you register it with the company you bought it from. You want to make sure that the software that you're using on your computer is up to date. You will get occasionally, a lot of users will get notices that Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or Adobe Acrobat has had a break-in of some type, had a breach. Okay, you'll get that. I've gone on some sites where they're really technical sites where almost every day you see patches coming out. And again, it's usually for the corporate world. You will see patches coming out for Microsoft Office products, for Adobe Acrobat, for several of the other financial programs that these people use, because scammers have found some way in there. So almost every day you'll see things coming out, patches coming out. So make sure your software is registered and up to date. Do not click on any open links or attachments on emails, which we already said that already. If you are directed to a website that you did not want to go to, immediately get off of it. Okay, just go back to your website you wanted before, shut down your computer, go to another browser, immediately get off of a website that you were directed to that you do not want to be on. Have a pop-up blocker running on your machine. Most of your software will have pop-up. I know Google has pop-up, Firefox, Microsoft, they'll all have some type of pop-up blocker. Now, just because it has a pop-up blocker doesn't mean that it's going to block every pop-up. Like I said, scammers are working 24 hours a day to try to get things done, and they find a way to get through with another pop-up. When you're on here, make sure you update make sure, first of all, you have a antivirus, anti-malware, or anti-spyware program. Make sure you brought it from a registered vendor or a good vendor, and make sure you keep it updated. A lot of times when you buy software, they'll ask you, do you want it automatically updated? You should say yes. And what they will do is they will come down with a message saying, we have an update for your Microsoft Word, or we have an update for Norton Antivirus. Do you want to run it now, or do you want to run it at a later time? It will give you those options like that. So this is what you want to do. You'll want to make sure your software is updated. And then regularly back up your information. Yes, ma'am.
I have just recently, in the last 4 or 5 days, started getting 3 little pop-ups in my lower right-hand corner, and they're all in different languages. And I just X them out and they disappear. And after 3, they don't come back anymore. But I guess I'm not supposed to be Xing it out there, am I?
What I've noticed on those, I've got a couple of those. I've not gotten 3. I think I've only gotten 1. I just left it there, and it goes away in a couple seconds. It goes away about 15 seconds or so.
Okay, So it's better for me not to acknowledge it.
Yeah, anytime I see something like that, I'm real leery about checking on it, just because, you know, I've delved so much into what the scammers do out there. It's almost up to the point now, okay, I'm going to quit. I don't want to have a telephone. I don't want to have an internet. I don't want to have anything. and then see if the scammers can scam me then. Okay, but anyway, this is some ways to prevent you from being hacked. When we talked about dual authentication and having your accounts online, several people, and most of the time the people I'm going to say are your elderly, over 60, over 65, and they tell me they do not want their credit cards online, they don't want their banking online, they don't want investments online, they just want to handle everything through paper. Okay, what you have to realize is that that financial company or investment company, whoever you're dealing with, chances are they have the ability to put you online. If you don't want your account online, that's okay, because the scammer does. And if the scammer can somehow get into your account through a password, and they can get into your account, they will set up a multifunctional authentication, at which time they will tell the bank or your financial institution to send the multifunction authentication to their email address or their cell phone. And next time you go to your bank, or you might try to log into your account, guess what? It's not your account anymore. It's the scammer's account. So I highly recommend that all your institutions, if they have that multifunctional authentication, set it up. If you notice, I have the email in yellow and red. One of the things we don't think of is email is common. Why would I want to set up an email? You know, who cares whether I have a multifunctional authentication on my email account? Come on, really? How many times do you log on to a site, establish a new site, establish a new account, and what's one of the things they ask you for? What is your email? How many people have a username that's their email? Okay, that is why your email now has become so important, that yes, now your email has to be protected also. So again, if your providers have multifunctional authentication, you'll definitely want to do that. And sometimes it's called 2FA, dual authentication. There's one system I use that I didn't realize yet. It has 3 ways to identify, which the first time I used it really shocked me, because I thought I made a mistake in logging into it. It has, not only does it have the password and stuff, it has the dual authentication where you log, they give you an authentication, you log in, and it then sends, because I'm on a computer, it then sends a barcode that I now have to take my cell phone and read the barcode of my computer. And it's like, really, guys? So this is the extent that some of these companies will go out there to try to protect your information. Okay, we talked about public Wi-Fi. Okay, you have the man in the middle. This is where you go on your public Wi-Fi. You're at Starbucks. You decide, hey, I want to talk to somebody. You log in. Okay, this attacker with a router, he's sitting there listening to what you're doing on your Wi-Fi. If you're doing a banking transaction, or if you're doing anything like that, they're getting all this information that you've put out there on that Wi-Fi. They're listening to your conversation with your friend. Okay, so they are going into your Wi-Fi. This is why you want to use that VPN, which sort of puts a covering over what your communications with him. So if you go to Starbucks, you'll want to make sure your VPN's on. Okay, the evil twin. This is where the scammer actually sets up the Wi-Fi. And you may go into some place and you'll see, pop up free Wi-Fi, or it may go into the hotel and say free Wi-Fi. Okay, something like that. What you want to do is you want to ask somebody who works there, is this in fact your site that you're using for free Wi-Fi, or is this something else? So the scammer will actually set up their own site, and of course, once you start using the scammer's Wi-Fi, everything that you do is is going toward the scammer. And then you have the ward driving. This is an older one, where it used to be when Wi-Fi first came into being, you had very little security on your Wi-Fi. People would drive by in their cars and try to pick up signals and try to do things like that. I was surprised that it's even there, but it's still in existence in some places. So again, just be careful. Make sure that when you are on Wi-Fi, that it is secure. Okay, public access. Don't access sensitive information over the Wi-Fi or over public Wi-Fi. Again, any type of financial transactions, you want to make sure if you're doing it online that Wi-Fi is protected. Okay. Verify true public Wi-Fi network name. Again, if you're using a public Wi-Fi, go to the hotel or Starbucks. Is this the Wi-Fi? Is this your Wi-Fi that I'm going to be using? Again, it's better to have your own VPN. Okay, secure your home Wi-Fi. Get with your provider. Make sure that they're using a secure Wi-Fi. I want to say most of them are, but if you want to just double check, you might want to just call up your provider and say, "Hey, is the Wi-Fi we use? How secure is it? What security things do you have on it?" And then consider using your own VPN. Okay, ways we leave ourselves. Now, this is non-technical stuff, but this is some of the ways that we leave ourselves vulnerable. Okay, you'll get in the mail pre-approved credit cards. A lot of times you'll get something where a letter saying you've been pre-approved for this credit card. They may even give you a credit card. All you have to do is call up the phone number. And a lot of times what we do is we just trash these letters, or scammers will then do a dumpster dive, get these letters out of your dumpster and call the number and get that credit card activated. You won't know about it until the credit card company starts sending you bills for these credit cards. And you say, hey, you never activated it, you threw it away. Again, pre-approved credit cards, be careful of those. Okay, telephone solicitations. Again, your telephone scams, anything that comes over the telephone gets you emotionally involved. Sounds too good to be true. This is what these are. Oversharing social media. Okay, again, we talked about that. You're on Facebook. You just want to overshare a lot of things. A lot of times what people will do, and I know a lot of my friends have done this, is they've gone on vacation and they've taken pictures of themselves on vacation. While they were on vacation, posted it on Facebook and said, hey, we're in Spain, or we're in Richmond, or we're in wherever we're at, and look at the fun we're having. Which is, if I'm a bad guy and I'm on their social media, I know they're not home. Okay, so their house now becomes available to me. So be careful what you share on social media and who you share it with. Again, using the same password for several different accounts. We've talked about that. Do not use the same password. Do not respond to any unsolicited email. If you don't know who the email is from, just delete it. Okay, make sure that you secure your smartphones, your laptops, tablets with a passcode. If you have on your cell phone, you have the ability to put a password on it. So whenever you travel, just put the password on it. It automatically won't shut off. But if a scammer gets it, tries to use it, they've got to enter a passcode in order to use it. Okay, and passcode can be anywhere from, I think, 4 to 10 digits. Okay, so again, you'll want to use that on your phone, especially if you do a lot of traveling, go out of the house. Do not leave your stuff on the desk. If you're still working, do not leave your stuff on the desk. Do not leave your purse or wallet on the car seat unsecured. They had a lady got picked up with a Medicare fraud. She left her purse on the car seat, was broken into. She submitted a police report, luckily. And about a year later, and this is one of the few times that the officials will actually knock on your door, because they actually did have an arrest warrant for her as a drug pusher, because somebody took her medical information and used it to buy opioids. And she had supposedly 7,000 opioid prescriptions hanging around. So they had that, and the only thing that saved her was that police report that she put in when her wallet was stolen, her purse was stolen. So again, make sure you secure everything that you have. Okay. You want to scrutinize all reports, all receipts, everything you receive. Make sure that everything is on here. If it's a bill from your credit card company, a bill from your medical provider, any bills, make sure that everything on here is what you've actually bought, or the procedures or process that you've went through. Okay. Seal your lips while you are talking to somebody. Don't be free and giving a whole bunch of information. If they want to know your name, why do you want to know my name? Okay. Why do you want to know my address? What, seal your lips. Be cordial, but be very, very careful of what you provide the people. Secure all your documents. This includes documents at home also, because sometimes you'll have a maintenance person come in your house. If you have a credit statement out or a social security card laying around or something like that, information that they can pick up just by looking on your desk. So you want to make sure all your documents are secure at home and especially at work. Shred everything. I said, I originally said, okay, well, we shred our bills and stuff like that. And my wife said, no, you shred everything. You shred your address, you shred everything. And she's right. You shred everything. If you get a catalog with your address on it, rip the address off, shred the address, throw the catalog away. Okay, but shred everything to include stuff that you wouldn't even think about throwing away twice. Just shred it. And suspect people's motives. Okay, why do you want this information talking to me, or why do you want it through an email? Again, everything looks like we're being really paranoid on this identity theft, on this cybersecurity. Okay, if somebody is after you, if somebody is out to get you, you are not paranoid. And remember, the scammers are out to get you, so you're not paranoid. This one here is a chart, or is a pop-up, or not a pop-up, but a screen that provides more debate than any other screen that I do. Okay, things that you do not carry with you, or you only carry with you when it is absolutely needed. There's no reason to carry your social security card with you. No reason to carry PIN numbers with you or passwords with you. And I know a lot of us will write the password down and what it's for. No, you don't need to carry that in your wallet or your purse. You don't need to carry your social security card. Birth certificate and passport. There's no reason to carry those unless you're getting your identity checked, or you're going for a passport, or somebody needs to physically check your passport or check your birth certificate or check to see if you do in fact have a social security card. Other than that, there's no reason to carry those. Checkbooks. I know my father used to carry his checkbook in his pocket. He used to carry all his checks with him in his pocket. My question was, and I never thought about this, why did he carry the checks? I never seen him write a check. My mother always used to write all the checks. So why he carried all the checks is beyond me. But he always used to carry a checkbook in his pocket. Okay. The only checks you have to take are the number you're going to need that day. And most of us, if I'm probably not mistaken, usually mail the check from home. So you probably really don't have to take a check with you. Excess credit cards. I cleaned out my wallet one time. I had a few excess cards in there. Saw my wife cleaning out her purse one time, and she had, I don't know how many credit cards in there, but there's Kohl's, there's Heckingers, there's Lowell's, there's and she just had all these credit cards. There's Visa, there's Master. You can't put that many cards in that small container. So all these credit cards. Now the question for you is, how many credit cards are you going to use today? Take one for emergency. You're probably going to maybe go to a gas station or something like that. Maybe do a purchase. All you really need is one. If you're really, really worried about it, take a backup. Other than that, you're not going to need any more than that. If you know you're going to Lowe's or Home Depot, take your Home Depot card with you because you know you're going to use that, or you're going to go to Hex or something like that. Take that card with you. But you don't really need those cards every other time. Debit cards. Okay, debit cards. Or debit cards. These are cards issued by the bank, usually associated with your checking account or savings account. Okay, they are as good as cash. If I get your debit card, I can go and I can clean you out, and you may or may not have any way to get your money back. Now, there was a law passed a couple of years ago where if you are in fact a victim of a fraud, the financial institution will limit your loss to $50 if it's reported within, I think, like 2 or 3 days. We'll limit it to $500, I think, if it's reported within a couple more days, couple of weeks, I think. And then after that, you're on your own. So I think the cutoff 6 months. I don't have that information in front of me, but I think the cutoff 6 months. If you have a debit card, you might want to check with your financial institutions. What protection do you have as far as if it's fraud is done on that debit card, or if that debit card is stolen? Do they give you any type of protection? Membership cards, again, if you're going to a meeting that you have to carry your membership card, carry that card with you. Other than that, do you really need to carry your membership cards with you? Again, what the scammers are going to do is if they get your membership cards, they can profile you. They get an idea of what your hot buttons are as far as what organizations you belong to, maybe what charities you give to, things like that. So again, this is nothing more than profiling you, getting an idea of what hot buttons they may be able to connect to you. Medicare card and medical cards. Okay, now this is the one that I'm going to say you do not have to carry your Medicare card with you. You do not have to carry your medical card with you. Immediately somebody will sit there and say, whoa, wait a second. What if I am in an accident and I need to be taken to the emergency room? Excuse me a second while I get the law. In 1986, the Emergency Treatment and Active Labor Act made it mandatory that if a hospital has an emergency room and accepts federal funds, they have to treat you for that emergency. Okay. They're not going to ask for your card. Now they may ask for your card after they treat you or while you're being treated. And what we recommend, or what I know Medicare recommends, is on the back of, instead of having the card, take your Medicare number, scratch your Medicare number out. On the back of the card, put down, in case of emergency, notify, your significant other, and with the phone number. And that way there, the hospital will be able to notify somebody and get whatever information they need off them. Okay. Or they can bring the card to the hospital. So this is just a recommendation that we make. A lot of people still will carry their card with them. A lot of people won't. Again, that's entirely up to you, but that's another way you can be scammed if I can get your medical information. Okay, some low-tech tips. Put a freeze or a fraud alert on your credit. You can put a freeze anytime on your credit. You have to call up all 3 credit organizations to put a freeze on there. What they will do is they will then give you a password that you have to make sure you keep that password, because they may not be able to provide it again, or you go through a whole rigmarole to try to get them to open up your account. And what a freeze does, it absolutely prevents anybody from getting onto your credit without your knowledge, and you have to unfreeze it. Okay, freezes are free and they will last. Last time I checked, they usually last forever. Fraud alert. Again, a fraud alert can be placed on your account if there has been a fraud on your credit card or on your account. If your identity has been stolen, what they will do is, Trudy, do me a favor, put the 3 phone numbers for the 3 credit agencies up on the chat, would you please? And what the credit agencies will do, all you have to do is call one of them up. They will notify the other 2 agencies, and they will put a fraud alert on you. Fraud alert will usually last from 1 to 7 years. Again, you have to check with them to double check that. And if you go to consumer.ftc, this is your Federal Trade Commission.gov, they will give you a fantastic spiel for what the freeze is and what the fraud is, how to go about it, and just it's really good information to have, or at least have available to you. If you get unsolicited credit card offers, if you opt out per screen there, and I can tell you that particular website works, or call that number. My son and I kept getting credit card things all the time. I opt out of it. I have not gotten a credit card request for probably the last 5 years. My son did not opt out of it. He gets a credit card request probably about 1 or 2 a week. Okay, so that gives you, lets you know at least that site particularly works. Use a credit card and not a debit card when shopping. And then hang up, do not engage, do not press any buttons. When you get a phone call, okay, we recommend that it goes to voicemail. If it's important, they will leave you a message. If they leave you a message and it's from a government agency, find out who the government agency is. And if you in fact think that it might be legit, call the government agency on a phone number that you've looked up and ask them, are they in fact looking for you, or are you in fact do a refund, or whatever the message may be. The government agency will know whether or not they are looking for you. Do not use the phone number left on your voicemail. Okay. If you by chance engage, you should pick it up accidentally and you get a tape recording. And usually it's a tape recording about car maintenance, your maintenance is expiring. We'll give you a good deal on the thing. Press 1 if you do not longer want to be called. If you press 1, what that does is that let the scammers know there's a human being at the end of the line. Keep calling them up because sooner or later they'll probably talk to you. So don't press any buttons, just hang up. Okay. If you let your, one of the questions I was asked is, well, if I pick up or the answering machine picks up, the scammers know that somebody's there. No, the scammers know the difference between a human pickup and an answering machine pickup. So they will know that difference. If you do engage a scammer, okay, hang up immediately. You just say, no, thank you, and just hang up. If for some reason you want to keep that scammer involved so that they don't waste, or you want to waste their time and they don't try to scam anybody else, noble thing to do, but it's the wrong thing to do, because what will happen is the scammers will take the length of time that you stayed on the phone. They don't care what you talked about. They will take that 15 minutes or 20 minutes that you stayed on the phone with somebody, and they will keep calling you because they know that you like to talk. And sooner or later, you're going to make a mistake. So the best thing to do is don't engage, just hang the phone up. If you do become a victim of fraud, you want to place a freeze and or fraud alert on your credit accounts. Okay. You'll want to go through all your financial organizations and let them know that your identity has been stolen. You'll want to let anybody know, especially financial institutions. You'll want to let them know that you have a problem with your identity. You'll want to create an identity theft file. And what I recommend there, and I got this off law enforcement, is write down everything that has happened. Write down who you talked to, what happened, when it happened, everything like that. Because what will happen is when the law enforcement talks to you, you're usually so upset that you're actually babbling things to them. And the officers have a problem trying to keep everything straight because you're so emotionally tied into this. So they have some of the information, but they don't necessarily have good information or all of the information. So they'll put it in their database, but it may not really amount to anything. If you have it written down, what I recommend is grab that tablet and read from the tablet. Officer, on May 25th, I was scammed. The scammer called me up and fine. Make a copy of it and give it to the officer. Okay. That way they'll have a good information as far as what happened to you, as far as the scam goes or this identity theft goes. A lot of the other times people ask me, well, we've reported this to law enforcement, we never hear back. Okay, chances are you're not going to hear back from law enforcement because you are only one little data point in this entire scam that these guys are running, these people are running. Okay, but the whole thing is what law enforcement tries to do is they try to get as many data points as possible. And sooner or later, the data points start connecting with one another and they're able to start forming a case. And even though yours may be one of the 1,000 points in there, you have helped them out. So please, if you feel that you've been a victim of a scam, scams going around, report it to law enforcement and let them take the report on it. Report the identity theft. We were talking about law enforcement. Okay, there you go. We just did step number 3. Number 4, www.identitytheft.gov. This is your Federal Trade Commission. Fantastic site. They will offer you a download. You can do a PDF download of about a 40-page booklet. You can get it in the mail. It is one of the best booklets on regaining your identity that I've ever seen. You can also go online and they will have form letters that you can actually fill out as far as, what you have to report to different people. And they do a step-by-step process of how to get your identity back. Fantastic site. Again, if you're unsure whether it's a scam or not, you've been victimized, you can go to the Fraud Watch Network and check out our scams. We went over this last presentation, really good website, your Federal Trade Commission, Federal Bureau of Investigation, your Federal Communication Commission. All these sites will have something about the scams that are going on. A lot of them will overlap, but a lot of them will have, like the Federal Communication will have maybe certain telephone scams that are just connected with them, and maybe the FBI or Federal Trade Commission doesn't have that scam on it. But these are all good sites to go to if in fact you think you've been scammed or you just want to know about the scams. And then again, our Fraud Watch Network, 877-908-3360. If you give us a call, what will happen is you'll be a volunteer who will answer the phone, or you'll go to an answering machine, and then your name and number will be given to one of the volunteers. Trudy and I work on this fraud network, so maybe you'll have. Hopefully, you will not have the pleasure of talking to us, and hopefully, you will not have the pleasure of talking to anybody on the fraud network. But if by any chance you do, you may get Trudy or me on the fraud network. Other than that, do we have any questions? No, I bored everybody, I see.
Well, we've run awfully long, and I appreciate everybody hanging in there because it's a lot of wonderful information there. But I can understand why people are tired and might be out of questions at this point.
I understand that one. Now, I gave you the handouts on these, didn't I, Carol?
Yes, you did. I
Okay.
do have the handouts.
Do me a favor, send the handouts out to people and let them know. And also, Trudy, do me a favor, if you would please put my email address in chat. And if you have any questions, you can email me. Do me a favor, when you email me on the subject line, put down, attended one of your presentations or something like that, or the presentation that you attended. So that way there, I will not automatically delete you.
I had to look up your email address. Hold on, I'm there.
Martin, thank you. This is
Okay, thank you. If any questions, let me know. Carol, I want to thank you for having us today. Appreciate it. And
Thank
again,
you, indeed.
Like I said, if you need these done anymore, let me know. And what we can do on the, instead of having two of them together, we can do the fraud by itself if you want to. And what we can do on that one there is, if you think it's too long, we can take stuff out. If you think we need to, I can quit, talking so much.
Okay.
But, we can do stuff like that. And I also have the other connection that I told you I did. I have the scams and stuff there. That would be a presentation unto itself if you want to do that one there. But that goes over a lot of the scams and goes into detail. Again, about an hour-long presentation if we just do the scams.
Okay, we'll think about that.
Okay.
Thank
Carol.
you for joining us. Anne, I think you're the last one still in here. So I'm going to let you go and thank you for coming. And then we'll clean up, the rest of us will clean up any details we need to cover. Okay?
Well, it was a great presentation. Lots of very good information. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I've just made it a couple of notes here so that I can remind people when I'll send out those handouts that you sent me to the people who came.
Okay.
And I'll remind them about putting that they attended the webinar in the subject line.